What's good, YouTube? It's me, Coach 67 Sports TV. Shout out to the awesome and amazing LDBC, Lions Den Boston community. Shout out to the greatest university in the world, the Southern University, home of the mighty Jaguars. I'm proud to be exclusive content creator for Southern University football here on YouTube. In this particular video, I'm going to talk about Coach Dawson Odums versus Coach Dooley in terms of would Southern program be further than what it is now if Coach Odom still was the head coach? Now, for the individuals that don't know, of course, if you're a Southern fan, you already know this. But at one point when Coach P. Richardson was no longer the head coach at Southern University, they transitioned and they ended up hiring Stump Mitchell. And just to be truthful, Stump Mitchell was a bad hire. He was a terrible head coach at Southern University. No other way for me to slice it or cut it. That's the truth. And Coach Odom was one of Stump Mitchell's assistant coaches. And after a certain point, alumni administration and Jaguar Nation, as fans, we just had enough. They parted ways with Coach Stump Mitchell, and Dawson Odums became the interim head coach. And the crazy thing about it, just the way Pete Richardson did when he became the head coach, he took a lot of Gerald Kimball, who's the head coach prior to him, and eventually became the head coach of Southern Lab, won the state championship, so on and so forth. The way Coach Pete Richardson did by taking Gerald Kimball's players and winning the SWAC championship, Dawson Odums, he took the same team that he was assistant on. He became the interim head coach, and he did a lot more with that team as the head coach than Stump Mitchell ever did. And moving the story on down the road, basically, eventually, Dawson Odums won the SWAC championship in 2013. Now, as a Southern fan that went to all of their home games, had you told me at the beginning of the year, during the course of that season, that that particular team was going to win the SWAC championship, I wouldn't have believed it. Even though at times they looked good, I didn't know that that particular team was going to win the SWAC championship, unlike the teams in 93 and 95 and the Quincy Richard led team later on down the line, 02, 03-ish. Basically, I didn't foresee it, but, he did a good job throughout the course of his tenure at Southern, and eventually, on the back end, he was having a lot of troubles getting over that Alcorn State hurdle because at the time Alcorn State was his nemesis. I mean, essentially for the most part, outside of Alcorn State, he pretty much beat all the other teams in the SWAC, including Coach Dooley, and he pretty much had his way. He just was playing. He had his way with every other team and every other coach in the SWAC. He just had issues getting over that Alcorn State hurdle. And the way Southern University fans are, Jaguar Nation, it can be compared to Power Fives like maybe Notre Dame, if the University of Texas, certain fan bases that pretty much expect to win year in and year out, and that's been the bar of excellence that Coach Richardson set. When he first came to Southern. Then at a certain point, even he wasn't living up to his own high standards that he set. When he first got to Southern. So basically, a lot of alumni and frustration. Let me phrase that. A certain portion of the alumni and frustration, and I mean, the Jaguar Nation were frustrated with Coach Dawson over the fact that he couldn't get over that hurdle. And as a result, when another school came calling after the spring 21 season, I just was under the impression that, you got another team showing interest in him. Southern is going to match, whatever Norfolk State or any other MEAC team could offer him, and he's going to continue to be the head coach of Southern. But they didn't. Basically, they just let him walk, and he didn't get like a ridiculous increase in his pay. So basically, Southern pretty much let him go, and a lot of individuals that were a part of Jaguar Nation, the fan base was divided because a lot of individuals thought it was a bad move because basically, he done a lot for a program, but certain individuals had the what have you done what have you done for me lately mindset and mentality. And then you got other individuals because uh, he wasn't a swag lifer. He didn't come from the Coach Pete Richardson coaching tree. He didn't play at Southern or he didn't play at another SWAC school. They never bought into him as a head coach fully. And it was as a result, anytime he had setbacks, like losing the SWAC championship to Alcorn State, constantly losing to Alcorn State, they were able to point to that as the reason that he should no longer be at Southern. So eventually he moved on. And at the time, you know, Coach Prime had become the head coach of Jackson State. And of course, Coach Odums, he beat Jackson State decisively when they played. When Southern and Jackson State played in the spring, Southern beat Jackson State decisively. But the thing about it was, the Coach Prime effect had already taken effect, and Southern was looking to hire at one point NFL Hall of Famer Marshall Falk. But of course, Marshall Falk he had some issues in terms of some allegations that was attached to him with him working at the NFL Network. So Southern ended up hiring Jason Rollins to be the interim head coach, and that was an epic failure. I mean, to be truthful, it was a wasted season. And in addition to that, Glendon Bowman McDaniel was the starting quarterback at the time. And, when he played well, he played real well. Some games he was averaging, and other games he was just mediocre. And the crazy thing about it, in terms of his performance that year, there was no like middle ground. Either he had an A is a grade, a C is a grade, or F. It was like he didn't have a B game or a D game. It's just like either it was hit or miss with him. So after that particular season, they ended up letting go Coach Jason Rollins. And eventually they ended up hiring Coach Dooley because from what I understand at the time, it came down to Coach Kevin Sumlin, who used to be the head coach at the University of Houston and Texas A&M University, and Coach Dooley, in the fact that he came from the Coach P. Richardson tree, and Coach Richardson gave Coach Dooley his stamp of approval. Basically, he ended up getting the job. This past season was his first year as the head coach at Southern University. And, even though Southern lost in the SWAC championship game, myself and many individuals in Jaguar Nation, they thought it was a disappointing season because we feel the team underachieved from the standpoint of they had a good season. But Sean McCray is a starting quarterback. I think was the main reason why a lot of individuals all around the SWAC and in Jaguar Nation really don't have a lot of trust and confidence in Coach Dooley. I'm at the point now from a personal perspective where he's the head coach now, even though I never really fully bought into him. We just have to give him a chance to give him an opportunity to see if he can rectify the wrong that he had last season. The fact that Bashawn McCray got him to the SWAC championship game, but it was obvious and transparent since the Texas Southern game moving forward that Glendon Bowman McDaniel should have been the starting quarterback. He was the starting quarterback the previous year, even though he had games where he wasn't excellent the year prior to that. He was an experienced quarterback. He had been through a lot, and he should have been the starting quarterback. And the fact that you let alleged personal relationship get in the way of what's in the best interest of the team, basically it cost Southern the SWAC championship game because I honestly believe had Glendon Bowman McDaniel started the SWAC championship game, I believe they beat Jackson State. And if they don't beat Jackson State, it's a very close game. So in that particular context, a lot of individuals in Jaguar Nation and a lot of diehard Southern University fans, basically, they lost all confidence in all hope and trust in Coach Dooley. Now, a lot of individuals didn't buy into him to begin with. They thought Coach Odums still should have been a head coach, and many individuals in Jaguar Nation thought Coach Odums was done wrong, and they should have brought him back. They should have matched whatever offer he had from any other teams. And for the most part, in terms of Coach Dooley versus Coach Odums, I mean, at this point, Coach Odums is definitely winning that head-to-head in terms of what they've accomplished and done at Southern University. Until Coach Dooley wins the SWAC championship, There's many Jaguar faithful that's not gonna fully buy into him as the head coach because basically because of what happened this past season, and many individuals across the SWAC just don't have confidence in him as a head coach. I mean, if you had to put him head to head against a lot of other coaches in the SWAC, a lot of other individuals would pick some of these other coaches over Coach Dooley. Even though Coach Dooley, he played this past season in the SWAC championship game against Jackson State. In the previous year, he played in the SWAC championship game against Jackson State. So he's lost the SWAC championship game back-to-back years. So basically, in the comment section, just tell me what you think of this situation. Who you prefer, Coach Odums, Dawson Odums, or Coach Eric Dooley? And at this point, do you think the football Southern University's football program will be further along if Coach Odom still would be the head coach? I mean, we don't know, and hopefully Coach Dooley could turn things around. At this point, I feel like it's a make or break season for him. If he could win the SWAC, then I think he'll get the Jaguar faithful back on his side. And if he doesn't, a lot of individuals still gonna be skeptical of him being a head coach based on what transpired last season. So that's it for this video. If you liked the video, if you saw any value in this video, like the video, share the video, comment in the comment section, subscribe to the channel. Also, click the notification bell so you can be alerted anytime I post any new videos. Also, follow me at Coach 67 Sports TV on all social media platforms, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and of course here on Facebook. Also, give me any suggestion that you would like for upcoming videos based on my knowledge of Southern University. Hopefully, y'all have a blessed and phenomenal evening. I'll catch y'all on the rebound. Peace and blessings.